Hi guys, thanks for tuning in. Today we're going to review the Halo 5 Spartan Buck action figure by McFarlane Toys. I've been a little bit obsessed with these figures in the last couple of weeks, ever since I found this cryo tube at my local toy market. And since then I've got myself a Warthog and a couple of other figures to go with this collection. On a side note, this thing is absolutely gorgeous. If you've got a chance to pick them up, do so. It's such a nice toy and it scales really well with these figures. Okay, back to Spartan Buck. Packaging for this guy is pretty straightforward. It's a clamshell style box, and he's got his digital artwork in the front, 27 moving parts, which is awesome. And then moving around to the back, you've got the rest of the figures in this series, and this happens to be a Series 2 figure from the Halo line. So I got some bad news for collectors who like to keep the box. To open this guy, you have to destroy the box. So you have to cut free the tape on the back, and the bottom and the top are glued. So you will have to rip everything out to get the figure out. Like that. On the inside, he is held down by one plastic tie, and the accessories are taped down so they don't fall out during transit. He comes with two weapons, a rifle and a pistol. I don't play the game, so I'm not sure what kind of rifle this is, but I can tell you that it's very well sculpted. There's a lot of nice little details. There's some really nice paint apps there. There's a white stripe, that bit's green, that bit's been painted as well. There's a bit of red in there, and the whole thing's been given a wash to bring out extra detail in the sculpt. Like all Halo figures, the weapon does have a peg, which you can use to store the weapon onto the figure. And same goes for the pistol. There is a peg there, but you can take it out. But I think again this one's quite tight. Okay, so with the pistol it's pretty straightforward. Little black pistol. It's been weathered with some silver dry brushing. Details nice and sharp. Yeah, pretty straightforward little pistol. So there's a number of places you can store the weapons. There's one on each side of his thighs, so you can put his pistol there, like so, or there, like so. And there's also a peg hole back of his neck, on his back, so you can put weapon there, like so. And you can even put the pistol there if you want, but it looks a bit odd having a pistol on his back. To get Buck to hold his rifle is a little bit of a challenge, because like all Spartan figures, his fingers are all bunched together, so there's no actual trigger index finger, but you can get it in there. You can get him to hold it, but it does look a little bit awkward, so I might have to just do surgery and cut apart his index finger. But you can get him to hold it. However, you can't really get him to put his rifle across his chest and hold it with the other arm because of the limitations in the articulation, which I'll get into in a minute. So he's going to look awkward trying to hold this rifle anyway. With the pistol, it's a little bit better because pistol doesn't have a separate trigger area, so you can just slip this whole thing on. This design reminds me more of a astronaut than a soldier type person. I think it's due to the size and the shape of his visor. But anyway, the rest of the figure looks really nice. I love the color scheme. It's really mostly just gunmetal and really dark olive, if you can pick it out. probably a bit hard in this lighting. So it is, I mean, the rest of the body is very military-esque, just the head looks a bit like an astronaut for some reason. And there's some really nice detail, like this knife on his shoulder area. It doesn't actually pull out. I wish it did. That'd be really cool. But it's a nice touch, and the material is soft, so you're not going to break it. And there's some nice printing there. Buck printed on his chest. Printing there. The visor's been painted this metallic green color, so that's quite nice. And there's some nice little detail, painted detail all over his suit. The pouches have been painted this light brown color, but there's no wash to it to bring out the details, which I think it lacks. Some really nice sculpted detail there. There's some nice mesh detail there on the shoulders, on the biceps rather. Yeah, all in all, I think that this is a really nice design, and I really like the color scheme. His head is on a ball joint, so you've got good range of motion all the way around. You can look down quite far and look up a reasonable amount, but not as far as down. Hinged and pin shoulder joint. My chest area is kind of come unglued, which actually helps with the shoulder articulation, because if this was held down, the shoulder and the body armor would interfere. But now it's actually, yeah, I'm not sure that it's supposed to do that, but yeah. So it's come unglued. Anyway, moving down to the elbows, so there's no bicep swivel, but you do have ratcheted elbows, and it swivels at the elbows. Ratcheted wrist joint, pin and hinge, so you can do some wrist bending inwards. There's a, what is it, torso rotation, but it doesn't really, does it swivel? Yeah, it does actually. Rotation and ab crunch, if you can call it that. So it does that, comes down that far. It's a bit tight, but it's good that it's tight actually. And then coming down to his hips, so there's no waist articulation, but he's got okay hip joints, probably not as good as Master Chief, but in order for the legs to come up, you don't lift it, you have to actually bend it out of the way, which is kind of awkward. But the good thing is you can still bend, you can twist the leg back down, so you can kind of cheat and get him to do like these ones. But then again, the knee bend is not that great. It's hardly even 30 degrees. So it's not the greatest here on the legs. Ratcheted knee joints, and then ratcheted ankle joints. No ankle pivot, but he does have a toe pivot and toe tilt. So you can do you can kind of have the front of his feet looking like they're flat on the ground, even though the heel is on an angle. So the articulation's okay. It's not the best that I've seen in this line. I still think the Master Chief from the one that came with the cryotube has probably got the best articulation of any Halo 5 figure that I've got so far. Here he is with Locke, pretty much the same size, but Buck is slightly taller. And here he is with Master Chief. Master Chief is a little bit thinner, I think, and a little bit shorter as well. And just to give you a sense of scale, here is a 6-inch Marvel Legends figure. I really do like the design of Buck. His armor looks really nice, and his color scheme is really nice as well. It's dark olive and gunmetal, which is cool. It's like a military style color scheme. But the figure itself, it has a lot of limitations in articulation. There's not enough range of bend in the elbows. There's not enough range in the hips. There's not enough range in the knees, which are pretty much the 3 most essential joints in an action figure. So if you just want this guy for display in a cabinet in a really neutral stance, he looks good. But if you like posing your figures and, you know, making scenarios and scenes and taking photos, then this guy is probably not the best. Thanks again for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed the review. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. If you'd like to read more reviews, you can also check out my website. The link is below. Okay guys, I will catch you next time.